àwọn ẹlẹgbẹ́ rẹ̀ yọ bó jẹ́ ti ká kọ́mọ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìwé àti ìmọ̀ ọlọ́run. Solar Distinct Group of Schools wọ́n wà lágbègbè tó dára tó sì dún kàwé fáwọn ọmọ. àwọn olùkọ́ tó nímọ̀ kíkún ni wọ́n kọ́ mọ́ ń bẹ̀. laboratories wọn lẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́ àti ICT center. ẹ̀yin òbí àtàlágbàtọ́ tọ́jú ọ̀la àwọn ọmọ jẹ lógún. Solar Distinct Group of Schools ìníkẹ́ máa máwọn ọmọ yín bọ̀. àní nursery primary àti college. Solar Distinct Group of Schools wọ́n wà ládojúkọ Crown Royal Hotel Abiola Way Abeokuta. telephone 0706 180-7087 0706-180-7087 tàbí 0803-438-6383. Solar Distinct Group of Schools pẹ̀lú ìbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run la fi ń káwọn ọmọ wa.
Good day, everyone. I welcome you all to the very first edition of Man and His Environs. I am damilola, omitogun, coming to you live on Solar Distinct Television. Now, as we all know, God has blessed man with every form of resources, with unimaginable materials that have been made available to us as human beings. And one of the most surprising things is that some of these materials man has not yet discovered, and some we have been able to make good use of. So in today's program, we're going to be taking a look at solar energy, and it's under the renewable and non-renewable resources. But solar energy is one of the examples of renewable energy and renewable resources, so to say. So for today's program, I'm going to be taking a look at different types of solar empowered materials, advantages and disadvantages of using solar energy, and some of the benefits that we are going to be getting if we make use of solar energy in our world today. So, for example, under the renewable resources, we have a lot of renewable resources that have been made available to human beings, some of which include wind, solar, and timber. We have wind because we know that men use in foreign countries, we use wind, we use timber, we use wood to build houses, to construct a lot of things. We use it to even power some of our energy, like coal. In foreign countries, they use wood to power the house in terms of fire in case there is cold. And some of the examples of non-renewable resources include gas, oil, aluminium, because if some of these resources, if they finish, they don't get to be renewed by themselves. Because the reason why we call them renewable and non-renewable resources is because for the renewable resources, the more we use them, the more they are being made available. While for the non-renewable resources, as the more we use them, the more they become not much available for us to make use of again. Now, do you know that the total amount of solar energy received on Earth is more than the world's entire population? So, one of the benefits of using solar energy is that we cannot finish using it, because one of the reasons why we call it a renewable resource is because as much as we make use of it, the more it keeps being available. So, the more the solar energy available to us as human beings on Earth is even much more than the entire 1.5 billion people living on Earth itself. Is that not wonderful? Is God not beautiful? So now, what is solar energy? Solar energy is the radiation from the sun capable of producing heat and causing chemical reactions and generating electricity. Now, there are many uses of solar. One of the major uses of solar right now that we have in the world is to provide electricity. One of the most common uses of solar is to provide electricity. For example, in Nigeria right now, that we don't have much available government electricity from NEPA, from IBEDC. Many rich people have, even many average living people too, have resorted to using solar energy to power their company. Some companies have started using it. A lot of companies have started using it. Even small and medium and enterprises have also been using solar energy to power themselves. Even in Solar Distinct Television, we are also using solar to power our studio. Now, so with this initiative from men, one of the common and most available, most well-known uses of solar is to give electricity to power the house, to power the studio, to power a company, and that's one of the most common uses of solar. Now, one of the hidden thing about solar is that there are now solar powered transportation. That is, there are many cars. There are some cars that now uses solar energy to power them. It might come as a shock to many people who have not made research, but let me bring this to you that in some part of the country, in some part of the world right now, there is a solar powered aeroplane. It has been tested. some have tested it, but that's not really been fully functional in every part of the world. But in some part of the world, there's a way to power an aeroplane using solar. Now, in some countries where there are solar powered transportation, like bus, there are many buses over in some European countries that uses solar to power cars, some fast cars. Though these cars, these buses are only affordable by the elite, by the rich and famous people in the world. But it's just so important for us to bring us to let us we can now make use of solar as a form of transportation. And so there's a form of another popular uses of solar is to provide lighting in the environment. In the screen right now, you can see an example of a car that is being powered by solar. You can see that the bonnet, the top of the car, even the boots are all wired by solar. So these panels, they provide electricity for the car, and they make sure that the car has a battery which is being used to power itself. So this kind of initiative is going to be very helpful, though not everybody can afford this for now. Only rich people can afford it. Now, for one popular example of using solar, another use of solar is we use it to power our street lights. In many areas of in many parts of Ogun State, even Ogun State, yes, as an example, Lagos State, Ibadan, Oyo State, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano State, many places now uses solar lighting. It has been very common because if you walk in the street right now, sometimes in Nigeria, for example, we got to be real with ourselves. In Nigeria, there's no electricity in every part of the country, so government have now started using solar powered lighting, whereby in the street, when you walk in the street, the lighting, the street lights will have gathered enough energy during the afternoon through solar panels to have gathered enough energy to have stored it so that it can have enough power to dish out all through the night. Some of these street lights comes up around 7 p.m. in the night, and then they stay up until 6 a.m. in the morning. So that's one of the popular example of solar, and it's one of the benefits or one of the uses that we have been able to take advantage of in our country today. Now, if some people that are very popular with latest technology, we will notice that there are many forms of solar powered electricity right now, because there are many power banks that are using solar to power themselves. There are deep freezers that are using solar to generate energy for themselves, to generate electricity. I've seen solar powered freezer before, and there are many solar powered television, solar powered phones, solar powered power banks, solar powered generators, solar powered deep freezers, refrigerators. That's what I was saying, refrigerators. So a lot of electronics right now are now using solar, which has helped us to minimize the rate at which we depend on government supplied electricity. So one of the advantages of using solar, one of the uses of solar is that we can also use it as a form of electronics. Now moving on to the advantages of solar. One of the most popular advantages of solar is that it is a renewable energy source, which means that we can never finish using it. Since the beginning of time, since the time God created heaven and earth, sun has been existing, the moon has been existing. Now, for example, taking a closer look at the sun has been existing for over how many years now? For thousands of years. So, and its strength has not diminished. You can even notice that it's even increased because of any gas that we are exposing to the atmosphere. So it's making the sun more powerful. Instead of the sun power to reduce for over a thousand, it's still increased. That means for solar, we can never finish using it. That means if you have a solar energy powering any of your gadgets or any of your equipment, you can use it as much as you are alive, unless it's or probably using it well. Now, another advantage of solar is that it can reduce your own electricity bill. If you are using solar to power your house, it will save you the cost in generators. It will save you the cost of maintaining your fuel, maintaining your generator in terms of repairing, buying fuels. It will also help you in terms of you paying your electricity bill, because right now everybody is depending on meter. And if you are powering your deep freezer, powering your air conditioner, powering a lot of things, powering televisions, powering your electrical appliances like bulb, fans, deep freezers, all those things. So to make you to consume more electricity, thereby making sure that you are going to be paying more meter. And if you are also using solar, it will save from paying any form of money to the government. So it's going to save you much money. The money you are going to spend on having solar power energy source in your house, you are going to retrieve the money back if you calculate all the money that you are supposed to spend if you are paying electricity bill or if you are buying units for your meter. Also, you know that if you have solar in your house, home buyers, in case you want to sell your house, home buyers, I mean the agents that buy houses, we value your house more because you have solar powered panels in your house. Now, according to research that I personally made from these house agents, if a house, let's say for example the studio of solar disc television, let's say for example in the future we want to sell this studio to another company, or to another television station, because we are making use of solar. Let's say we're supposed to sell the house 200,000, the studio 200,000 naira, because we have solar powered energy source. There's an opportunity. There's a high chance for us to sell this studio 5 million naira, because nobody wants to know how much you spend on your solar installation. All you want to know is that you have solar, which is going to save us energy. So if you have solar in your house, it's going to increase the value of your house in the market. Another advantage is that solar panels have low maintenance cost. Solar panels, the parts, you don't need to be maintaining them, servicing them here and there. So far you follow the instruction that is going to be laid down by the electrician or the engineers that will set it up. Once you follow this laid down instructions, you can use it for as much as you want, as long as you want. So the cost of maintenance is very, very low. All you need to do is just make sure that you charge it, you don't put much fuel on it. Whenever it gets low, you power it off, make sure you charge it again. And then if you abide by all the rules that are going to be stipulated to you by the engineers, you are good to go. You can use it as much as you want. And you can also generate through solar energy. You can also generate electricity all through the year. Some people will say, what if during rainy season? What if you are staying abroad and then you have snow on the solar panel? Do you know all these things will actually make you enjoy your solar panels the more? Because let's, for example, you have snow. If snow falls on your solar panels, and then after some days, the sun shines again. The sun, after the snow has melted, if you make sure that the sun will now make sure that the melted substance of the snow will now even help you to clean the solar panel, which will make it more receptive to accept much more electricity. Means if rain falls, it's even helping you to wash out some of the substances that might be blocking the sunlight, the ray that the panel should receive from the sunlight. So these weathers are also added advantage to it. So all through the year you can make use of your solar powered energy. Now, disadvantages, we know that in the world nothing that has advantage, there's nothing that has advantage that does not have disadvantage. So solar panels, the solar energy source also have its own disadvantage. Now, one of the major disadvantages of solar is that it have an high cost of installing. There is high cost of installing. Not everybody can be able to afford or installing solar panels or in one go. It takes something that you have to save up for, because the cost of buying batteries, the cost of buying the panels itself, the cost of paying the engineers, the electricians, this cost is there, to be honest. So not everyone can afford to it, but it's going to save you much more money that you spend on installing it in the first place. Also, the solar storage is expensive. I spoke about earlier the cost of buying batteries, because once the solar panel have retrieved the energy from sunlight, it will convert it through an inverter. It will convert it, and then it will now be stored on a battery. So this battery is very expensive. You can even get a battery of 200,000 naira, one battery. And if you want to power, for example, we power in the studio, we are making use of 2 batteries to power the studio. I know just 2 batteries alone it costs almost 500,000, like 400,000 plus. So we know that the cost of storing solar power is very expensive. But once you get done once, you are going to enjoy it for a life. Because of our time, I'm going to be giving out just 2 more disadvantages of solar. The third disadvantage is that they are dependent on sunlight. If there's no sunlight, there's no light. No sunlight, no solar. That's the rule. And the fourth disadvantage is that it doesn't work for every roof type. For example, if your roof, if it's not facing the sunlight, if the way you power your roof is not high enough if it's not full on where the sun will eat it. If you now set up your solar panels there, you might not really get enough results that you want. So you have to make sure that your roof is positioned to where you're going to be getting enough sunlight. And I hope you have learned one or two things in today's documentary program, Man and His Environment. If you enjoyed this program, catch me same time, same station next week. I'll bring you another bumper edition of Man and Its Environs. See you. I remain damilola. See you next time. Bye for now. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
ẹ̀yọ́ bó jẹ́ ti ká kọ́mọ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìwé àtìmọ̀ ọlọ́run Solar Distinct Group of Schools wọ́n wà lágbègbè tó dára tó sì dún kàwé fáwọn ọmọ àwọn olùkọ́ tó nímọ̀ kíkún ni wọ́n ń kọ́ mọ́ ń bẹ̀ laboratories wọn ò lẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́ àti ICT center ẹ̀yin òbí àtàlágbàtọ́ tọ́jú ọ̀la àwọn ọmọ jẹ lógún Solar Distinct Group of Schools ìníkẹ́ máa máwọn ọmọ yín bọ̀ àní nursery primary àti college Solar Distinct Group of Schools wọ́n wà ládojúkọ Crown Royal Hotel Abiola Way Abeokuta telephone 0706 180-7087 0706-180-7087 tàbí 0803-438-6383 Solar Distinct Group of Schools pẹ̀lú ìbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run la fi ń kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa.